Well, hello there. How are you doing today? Do you feel like doing a little bit of DIYing with me today? Well, come on in and let's get started. So what do I have going on for you for today? Well, it's part 2 to that DIY that I'm doing in my kitchen for that pesky desk area that I've never used that is oddly placed in my house. Today is part 2 where the project comes together, I tie it all up and get it done. Let's see how it turned out. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna quit my gabbing, let's jump into it and let's finish up this DIY. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so picking up where we left off the other day, I finished filling in all of those gaps that needed to be filled in this unit, and I did that with a combination of that pink spackling that turns white when it dries, wood filler, and caulking. I used the wood filler in the areas where the gaps were bigger and the spackling in the smaller areas. Went with the caulking along the bottom edge there where the wood met the tile. And it took me a couple hours to do, but with that then came this sanding, a bit of sanding, and I used a combination of sandpaper, a sanding block, a wet rag to smooth out the caulking, the wood filler, and get it where I needed it to be. And so this is where we're at. When I tell you I filled in everything, I really filled in everything because I really wanted this to have a seamless finished look and look like a built-in. It's my favorite part of just about every project. It's time to paint. I absolutely love painting. The paint that I'm using is Krylon's Chalky Finish Tinnable Paint. This is a paint that I really wanted to use because I really love working with chalk paint and there is minimal prepping needed. You don't need a primer and you can just go right in and paint, and it's going to take a couple of coats and you're going to get a really great finish because chalk paint is very forgiving, especially when using a paintbrush. You're not going to get those brush strokes and it just kind of settles into whatever you're painting, and it's going to give you that flawless finished look, and again with very little prep needed. I didn't need a primer. I'm pretty confident that it's going to adhere well to the wall there and back. I did not go with a piece of plywood to finish the back off. I just decided to save on money and use the wall as the backing of this unit. And I think it just made it easier altogether. The color that I am using is the same color that I used throughout my whole house when painting all of my cabinets. And that would be Apple Barrel's Beachcomber Beige, because why not? When I was trying to figure out the color for my cabinets, I dug into my stash of Apple Barrel paint and kind of started splotching it on all of the tile throughout my house to see which color would go best with the tile, because changing out my tile on my cabinets and countertops just wasn't something that I could do. And so this was the color that went best with it. And I took it on over to Lowe's, asked them if they could color match it using the Krylon Chalky Finish paint. They said they could. And so that is my paint color of my cabinets. So if that's the color you want, head on over to Walmart, pick up a bottle of Beachcomber Beige by Apple Barrel, take it to Lowe's and ask them to color match it, and they will. Another thing that I've never been super happy with, that I've disliked quite a bit, is that this is where the internet was placed, the modem and the router. And with that comes a lot of wires it just looks unruly, and I've never really been able to hide it. It's been an eyesore, and it's not something that you can just unplug and plug in somewhere else. In order to move your internet, you have to have the provider come and actually move it unless you use the same cord and the same outlet. So because the internet cord came up through the cabinet, which I later figured out as I was doing this project, I went ahead and pulled it out of the wall, put it into the cabinet, and decided to just drill up through the cabinet shelves up to the top of the cabinet, run some internet cord along the top there, and because there is a plug above my microwave, I am then able to plug in my router and my modem, and in turn place my internet on the top of these shelves where they will never be seen. And so it is a win-win. I am hiding my internet, and truth be told, our internet signal has never been better since I've moved it. Oh my word. I am loving this. It is turning out amazing. I did give the top cabinets and the bottom drawers a fresh new coat of paint, but it all is blending in so nicely. I did get 2 coats of paint on it, and it is still a bit wet. There is still some sealing that needs to be done, but wow, I am seeing my vision come to life right now, and I love it. Hi, beautiful girl. Hi. Oh, good boy.
Hi. Hi, bird. Hi, Beezo.
Oh. I'm so glad I decided not to go with the plywood up against the wall and just use the wall. The texture of the wall doesn't even show, especially using the chalk paint. And what I'm going to use these shelves for, it's not going to show anyway. Now addressing 2 of these 3 holes, I don't need them anymore. It's going to be a project for another day when I fill them in with drywall. It's not something I want to undertake right now. So I'm just going to use these plate covers that I got at Lowe's and a simple outlet cover. I don't want anything fancy. I don't want to draw attention to it. I thought I got the color pretty close, but it was a bit shiny, so I did end up going in with the chalk paint, and you can kind of see off to the side there in the corner that I did paint over them just to kind of disguise them even more. Now I'm just kind of touching up that cosmetic fix there of my wall. That actually came from a screw that I had screwed too far in to the shelf there. And when I slid that piece in to the unit there, it scuffed up the wall, but not a big deal. Like I said, it was a cosmetic fix. When I applied the chalk paint to the unit, I wasn't super neat about the edges because I knew I was gonna have to go in with the cafe latte and fix up this wall. And I typically like to go over the paint anyway when applying paint when there's a seam involved, because I think if you cut in once instead of twice with both colors, you get a cleaner finish there. And so, yeah, it's coming together. I'm excited, and good thing I had that extra paint on hand for my wall color, so I didn't have to make a 7th trip to Lowe's. The light is at the end of the tunnel, and the excitement is getting real with this project. So all that's really left to do is to seal this. Now, chalk paint, you can seal it a couple of different ways. You can use a polyacrylic if you want, or you can go the route of using a wax sealant. I am going with Krylon's Chalky Finish Clear Sealing Wax. This is the wax finish sealant that I applied to all of my cabinets in my house once I repainted them with this chalk paint. I really love this wax because it is a subtle mix between a matte finish and a satin finish. I am not a high gloss or semi-gloss person. I like to stick with the eggshell finish, and even sometimes satin has a little bit too much shine for me. And so this is a very subtle mix between a matte and an eggshell finish, giving you still the satin finish that gives you the durability and the capability of wiping it down. Now, when applying this, I'm sure the correct way is to apply it with a cloth, then go in and wipe off the excess. But because I am using it on high traffic areas, I want it to be a bit durable. And so with all of my cabinets, I applied the wax with a brush and I did not wipe off the excess. A little goes a long way when using this wax. You don't need a lot of it. It kind of smooths out very easily and stretches pretty far. And it does give you a good, durable, long-lasting seal. But, and there is a but, it takes about 18 to 24 hours to cure and dry and harden. So that way you have that finish that you can actually wipe down. Because it is a wax, it doesn't mean that it's going to soften or melt in higher temperatures. Once it cures, it is a pretty hard finish sealant, and I really love the look of it on my cabinets. I tried going the route of using a polyacrylic sealant, even a matte finish, but I just didn't like it. I really love the look that the wax gives chalk paint. Now, when applying the wax to your chalk paint, do be prepared for your paint color to change a bit. It is going to darken it. This color looks very light before I put it on, and as I apply the wax, it darkens up. The paint color, I would say about 3 to 4 shades, which wasn't something I was prepared for when I first started working with this chalk paint in my guest bathroom. And once I learned that that was what it did, I knew to kind of pick my color based on that. And you will see as I apply this how it darkens. And that isn't just because the wax is wet, it actually becomes that color and dries as that color. And I ended up really liking the color once the wax dried. Let me show you how I'm going to set this up. And of course, I'm not going to forget the burlap. I do want to add some kind of tags to the baskets and the jars. I'm just not completely decided on which ones I want. I know I want something with wood, maybe some chalkboard, but there's no rush. That'll be for a later date when I find something I really like. These wood crate bins that were down below were perfect for the inside of this cabinet. Here's the kitchen before and after. This is really starting to feel like our home. I am so happy with the way this turned out. It turned out exactly the way I envisioned it in my head, even better. There is something about looking at a piece that you built or looking at something that you did and reflecting on it and saying, wow, I did that. I was capable of doing that just because I tried. And I gotta tell you, there is no feeling like it. I wasn't quite sure if it was gonna look as amazing as it does, but you know what? I challenged myself, I stayed positive, I put the work in, and it was well worth the work and the 6 trips to Lowe's that I took to get this outcome, and I love it. And it is everything that screams what feels like home to us. I hope you all enjoyed this home renovation DIY project. And I hope if you have one of these built-in desks that you've never utilized, that you don't know what to do with, do something like this and put it to good use and make it a space that you are proud of. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy, but most of all, you know what I'm gonna say. Stay positive, please, because I'm sure trying. Bye for now, everybody.